just me here today. Erin is not here. She's experiencing what a lot of people experience at this time of year, a little bit of burnout, and she's taken some time and she's resting. And I'm certainly glad that she is, because Erin deserves to rest, and we all know that. And I don't know that anyone would say, no, you can't rest, Erin. So Erin is having a rest, and you got me, just me. And today we are actually going to talk about Yule and solstice, because it is coming up on the 21st. I know Christmas is coming as well, but we all know how we celebrate Christmas. We all know what we do in regards to Christmas. And for some folks, Christmas is a very stressful time. Christmas is a time where you do everything for everyone else. Sound familiar at all? Actually, a girlfriend of mine just sent me a clip from a Saturday Night Live skit where it's Christmas morning, everyone's throwing everything that they got, and then they pan to the mom, and she got a robe. And then everyone shows what they got. She goes, and I got a robe. And everyone shows what they got. She says, and I got a robe. And then they go through the stockings, blah, 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 blah. Thank you, Leslie. Erin will feel better soon, and she will know. Hello, Shelly. So the gist is, sometimes when we're the person who coordinates everybody else or is helpful to everyone else, we tend to forget about ourselves and burn up and out. And this time of year is a really, really, really strong indicator of burnout, or it's really, really easy to become more burnt out at this time of year, because actually, thank you, Missy. Actually, at this time of year, we're actually supposed to be hibernating. We're supposed to be holed up in our house, holed up in our house. We're supposed to be in our houses, sitting by the fire, keeping warm, relaxing, and hibernating, and taking stock of the year that we just had. Not giving ourselves more stress than we've ever experienced throughout the year. Some of us start getting ready for the holiday season at the end of the last holiday season. And that is the truth. I am actually planning Christmas presents for next year, this year, because I thought I was so ahead this year and I was organized, blah, blah. Yeah, it's crazy what we do to ourselves in this idea of showing other people how much we care about them. We put ourselves through hell to show other people how much we care about them. So today, what we are going to talk about is solstice. Solstice is the longest night of the year. Solstice is the marking of the end of darkness. After solstice, the light comes back, and we have solstice. Thank you, Missy. We have solstice because we need to close out one year and open up a new one. It's kind of like a New Year's. I think a lot of people see that as a solstice type of thing, where you make a New Year's resolution, where at midnight you open up the front door to let the good energy in, you open up the back door to let the bad energy out. That same idea is within solstice. And from what I understand, that same idea goes throughout solstice all the way to the 6th of January, the 12th days of solstice, the 12 days of Christmas. And honestly, I'd celebrate it as such. I would celebrate it as giving yourself a present for 12 days. Wouldn't that be amazing? My husband bought me a Wiccan advent calendar, and every day I get a new spiritual present. It is so gosh darn amazing. I highly recommend. And you don't have to have someone else buy it for you. Buy it for yourself, because then you get a present every darn day. And maybe next year, maybe someone is planning right now their solstice advent calendars that they can make available for people. Maybe someone is doing that. It might be me. Hi, Jerry. I'm going to say hi to some people. Hello, Leslie. Hello, Shelly. Hello, Missy. Hello, Jerry. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. Now, okie dokie, let's get started on our solstice celebration. So this Wednesday, we're going to do solstice. It's the 18th, 19th, Monday, 20th is Tuesday, 21st is Wednesday, and that's solstice. Alrighty. Yes, Jerry always celebrates the January 6th, January 7th as the last day of the season. I have as well. I actually used to try to have my decorations down by that day because I was told once it was bad luck for the coming year. I also do it because my daughter's birthday is the 15th, so I always liked it to be out of the house. Oh, hello from Belgium. How smashing to have someone from Belgium here. How groovy. What time is it there? Must be awful late. Okie dokie. So we're going to start here. So the first thing I'm going to do on Wednesday, because I took the day off to celebrate solstice. So think of it as like my Christmas a little bit. You know, you would take Christmas Day off. And I own my own business, so I can actually decide to take days off. But you guys don't have to. I believe the 21st of December is an arbitrary date. It's a date. Wow. 30. Okay. Well, I am so glad that you are joining us, Ward. So glad that you're joining us. We eat smoked meat that day. Now, is that on Solstice Day, Jerry, that you eat smoked meat? And do you eat smoked meat as a tradition? Because excuse me, I believe that Yule, solstice, all of this is part of pagan traditions that actually were in all likelihood celebrated exactly or similarly around the world. And I find that absolutely fascinating. Hello, Bobbi. How are you? What a great name you have, Bobbi. Okie dokie. Now, so I'm going to start my day with a salt bath. Now, I should start with this. My wonderful husband bought me this Yule kit. I'm keeping it up there so you guys can see the name of the company, the Culverstone Witch. I like to support Etsy shops, and I like to support small businesses. I obviously did not buy this. My husband bought it. This is a company out of the United Kingdom. Okie dokie, which makes sense. All right, so I'm going to start with cleansing myself. So in this idea, what I'm going to do is prepare myself to be as physically pure as I possibly can be before I start my ritual. You do not have to call it a ritual. If that makes you uncomfortable, then don't do it. Then call it a thing I'm doing, or you can call it whatever the heck you want to call it, but please know that whatever you call it, however you celebrate it, whatever day you pick it on, and okay, that's what I was going to get to as well. Like a fairy in a jar. The day that you do your solstice on, honestly, if you have to work on Wednesday, because you absolutely might have to work on Wednesday, then do it your next day off, or do it tonight, or do it when you can. I really don't think that the sun will care. Because really what we're doing is we're commemorating the sun. Oh, interesting. That makes me think I should be doing some sun salutations. No one said that, but as a yogi, it would make sense that I would do sun salutations on the day when I'm supposed to be asking the light to continue. That's part of it. So what we're doing on solstice is we're commemorating what has been, and we're looking forward to what is going to be. And we are asking for the light to come. So the ancient ideology obviously has to do with the sun in life. I mean, goodness gracious me, if you don't have sun, you can't grow crops. You don't have warmth. You don't have light. People need light. People need light so very, very badly. Anywho, so that's why it was. Now this is why it is. And it's in the same sort of idea. Yes, we are not completely and absolutely, dependent upon crops. We are, but we aren't. We are, but we aren't. But we are always dependent upon the light. We always need to bring new light into our lives. And that's what I'm going to do with this. I am going to take this more as you make your birthday wish. I'm going to make my solstice wish. I am going to write down what I want to get rid of. So I'm going to put that all on a piece of paper. And I'm going to write down all of the habitual things that I would like to shed myself of, all the things I would like to let go. And I'm going to put that in a little envelope, which shall be burned later. And after my tub, Now, in this kit gives me the three colors. The colors of Yule are red, green, and white. Isn't that surprising? Red, green, and white. It's the Christmas colors. It's all the same. Okie dokie. 1 second. Okay, I'm going to say hello to some people, and Ward has an interesting question. Okie dokie. So, hello, Bobbi. Hello, Ward. Hello, Jerry. Hello, Chris. Hello, Lorianne. And I think I've said hello to everybody else. Okie dokie. So, Ward is asking me, can I ask you into astrology or more into numerology? I don't want to say neither because I believe in both of them. And numerology actually comes up a lot in my readings for people who are good with numbers and like numbers. I myself have a special kind of mental aversion to them, but my aunt used to do numerology and it is so incredibly concise. It's an excellent practitioner's tool. And my uncle does astrology, and they were married to each other. Isn't that a funny thing, Ward? But it's true. It's absolutely true. My only thing with astrology is that sometimes what we feel certain signs are like doesn't always coincide with what I see in my readings, but that doesn't diminish astrology whatsoever. I actually believe very strongly in it because I do. Okie dokie. So, all right, now back to Yule. Okay, so our colors of Yule are just like the Christmas colors. And for me, I'm very lucky that this kit actually came with an idiot sheet and then also a whole, not really an instruction list, because to my mind, I believe this actually has a list of all the properties of Yule or solstice, things that you might want to have with you. But when I look at something like this, it reminds me a little bit of the parameters that we have around this holiday, that you can do this, but you can't do that, or you should do a little more of this and a little less of that. And if you do this, then you're going to get this. I find those things change, and I find those things are somewhat environmentally prone. No, not a good word, eh? That they have to do with where the people are from or where the celebration was. Oh, Scotland. Oh, smashing. I tell you, Michelle and Ward, well, especially Michelle, you're from Scotland. I'm talking about solstice and Yule. Let me know if I say anything that you would like to correct me on, or hello, Amanda. Or if you have anything to add, please. Jerry is adding some lovely things. Smoked lamb at Christmas and usually from Iceland. So you get the lamb actually from Iceland? I would like to know that, Jerry. You actually import lamb from Iceland. That's interesting. Okie dokie. So next thing. Okay. Right. Voices in my head tell me they want me to go to the crystals. Now the crystals, this kit came with 3 crystals. This puts out lists off several more crystals. Obviously, we're gonna have diamond because we got white. Merry Christmas, Nikki. Nikki is saying hello to Christmas to all. Merry Christmas to all. Now, I think this is a representation of the emerald. This is green quartz. So you want a green crystal. This one's tiger's eye. This is a great one for your third eye. And I think it's actually for grounding as well. Ruby is on the list, but it's not here. Bloodstone is on the list, but it's not here as well. Quartz is. So I actually think to a certain extent that these 3 are to represent the green, the red, and the white, even though tiger's eye doesn't present physically as red. I do not have red jasper. That's one of the ones that she puts on there. I got tons of garnet. I'm a garnet person. So I would use those. I honestly believe that the crystals, yes, crystals have power and properties and such, but I believe so do rocks. And not that rocks and crystals are the same thing, but if you can afford to buy more crystals, or if you do not have the crystals on hand, but you still want to perform a ritual of some type, then you can actually, I'm actually seeing someone write the word ruby on a rock. So you're creating a rock and calling it a ruby, and therefore that's what it is. Okie dokie. Moldavite meditation is great with it. Okie dokie. I'm Moldavite. I know I'm saying it wrong. And I actually even know and what color is it, Michelle? I would like to know. I'm curious. Okie dokie. I would say send a picture, but I don't think you can send a picture on those comments. I'm not sure. Alrighty. So we got our crystals. So we've got our colors, and our colors can come in so many forms. You can have them in well, the candles are actually kind of important because you want to have a candle. Green. Thank you. Happy holidays, Brienne. Oh, we're seeing each other between Christmas and New Year. Smashing. Okie dokie. All right. Now, the herbs that you want to have, and there's one I actually hear a lot. It's on this list as well. The herbs on this list are chamomile. They are cinnamon, ivy, mint, mistletoe. See that a lot this time of year, right? And I actually, the properties of mistletoe, I've seen different things about why we have mistletoe, why we actually started doing mistletoe, how mistletoe actually became the preeminent piece of greenery that we would smooch under, things like that, because Christmas actually used to be a lot about but yeah, I heard in my head getting your freak on, but that's not what I meant. I meant finding love. Because well, for lighting the new year, especially if you were a female in medieval times, I would think husbanding up would be really on your mind for the protection for, well, were women allowed to make a living? No, they sell themselves. That's about it. Anyway, okay. So the chamomile, I kind of get a little bit. Well, yeah. Cinnamon comes up so much this time of year. And I know we use it a lot in our cooking and things like that, but it really, really, really comes up in my readings, in my head, and in things I'm doing with protection. And I'm not even sure if actually cinnamon is for protection, but it pops into my head as a bit of protection. And even I have felt compelled to add cinnamon on top of things just to put a little more health within them and make them a little more healthier. Okie dokie. Now, the animals they associate with this. Oh, I apologize. I forgot to mention, this is what my voices are saying. My voices, I said that out loud. Okie doke. Peppermint, rosemary, sage, and thistle. Rosemary and sage. When you think of rosemary and sage, well, I immediately think of the turkey that everybody eats at Christmas time. It's really very all wrapped up and rolled together in a very, very large way. And I honestly think that you can honor or enjoy this holiday and still honor and enjoy your Christmas holiday if it is a holiday of faith for you, just as much, without flying within your faith, flying against your faith, without blaspheming. Blaspheming? Did I make a word up? Anyway, okie dokie. So the animals that they tell me that we are associating with this, and I actually think people just eat them, are the bear, the boar, the deer, the eagle, the owl, the robin, the squirrel, and the wren. The wren thing, I have read a few things about the wren. The wren, a little bird. And from what I understand, they actually used to kill them. They would trap and kill a wren. And that was, I honestly completely forget the reason, but there was a reason. And okie dokie. I don't like, please don't kill any wrens for your solstice. I don't think a wren needs to die. But if you want to do a meal where you eat one of the animals that is designated as a Yule feast sort of animal. Well, bear, is it legal to eat bear? So don't eat a bear. Boar, well, I think you could probably substitute pig because they're the same thing. Deer, venison. The venison, this is an eagle. Do not eat an eagle. Owl, robin. I'm not a meat eater, but I don't know that those are really on a lot of people's tables. And I would think you might get in trouble for eating an owl or an eagle. And so the other one is squirrel. Michelle's favorite is the deer. Now, the thing I learned about the deer is that I don't even know what century this was, but the noble people would actually get to eat the deer. People who were impoverished didn't get to eat a deer because they didn't get to eat a deer. But the noble people would eat as much as they wanted out of the deer, and then they would take the rest of it and grind it all up and make it into pie, and the rest of it was called humble. So the oh no, oh, not to eat. Oh, thank you, Michelle. Michelle doesn't want to eat her deer. She wants to pet it. I'm with you on that one, Michelle. I'll pet the deer, not eat the deer. Humble pie. That's what they would give to the impoverished people of the estate that worked on the estate. Humble pie. That's where that comes from. I thought that was very interesting myself. That's why that comes from that. Anywho, so I'm not going to tell someone eats humble pie anymore because it seems like an awful big insult. Okie dokie. Yeah, it's my favorite deer. I'm not sure which one is my favorite. I see owls more than anything. I see owls all the time. Owls find their way into my life a lot. Okie dokie. Now, what are we going to do on the day? So what I plan on doing on the day is setting a precedent. So my assertion for this coming year is going to be good health. Because if you know me, then you know that I have some cysts and such all through my spine, and it can make my life a little bit different than it used to be. Yeah, different bad, not different good, but we're not saying that out loud. Dragonflies. Dragonflies are an amazing creature. When a dragonfly lands on someone, I tell them what an amazing honor that was. It's like when a ladybug lands on someone. And if someone names their business Dragonfly, I immediately think that they're more spiritual. Okie dokie. Now, all right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my salt bath, and then I am going to light my candles. When I light my candles, I am going to think about what I would like. I'm going to think about what it would be like to have what I would like. I am going to believe that actually lighting the candles and setting the intention is going to bring me what I would like. So because that, hi, Carrie, because I am actually going to ask for a certain thing, I have to think about what it will feel like to have that certain thing, what that certain thing will mean to me. Because if I go with what it will mean to me and how it will feel, I will get the feeling and that meaning. If I center on an idea, I will get that idea. And that idea doesn't always actually coincide with the feeling and meaning that I'll have inside of me. Am I making sense? Sometimes we will manifest things like, okay, I'll use a very, very, very general example. Let's say I'm trying to manifest a husband. That's an easy thing to actually do. You want to manifest someone who wants to marry you? Grand, easy. You can do that. But do you want to manifest someone you want to marry? Do you want to manifest someone you want to spend time with? Do you want to manifest someone who actually means something to you? That's what you go with. Does that make sense? Because it's not the thing we want. It's the feeling that the thing will bring to us. So when you start to do this manifestation, when you light your candle, please keep that in mind, that I am doing something for me. So I want to think about how it will feel to me. Smashing. Okie dokie. Okie dokie. Now, Carrie has come late to the party, so we're going to tell Carrie why those 3 colors. Because we're discussing solstice today, Carrie, and I am telling everybody what I'm going to do to actually ring in. It's kind of like ringing the new year. I can't stop getting that idea out of my head that it's almost as though I'm talking about New Year's Eve, because it almost is like New Year's Eve. It actually falls under the same sort of ideology that we put New Year's Eve in the out with the old, in with the new. New Year's baby, the old man, old father time, and the New Year's baby, same sort of idea. So we'll think of it as the darkness is going. Oh, it's because I'm missing that massive component, that oak king, that actually what we're trying to do is put Father Winter to bed and invite the oak king to come be part of us. And the oak king, honestly, when I see the 2 pictures side by each, I think, oh, that's a picture of Santa Claus. Oh, That's a different picture of Santa Claus. That's like pagan Santa Claus, and that's like winter Santa Claus, because that's what it actually looks like. What the pictures actually look like. The Oak King kind of looks like a woodland Santa Claus-y sort of guy, and the Father Winter looks like winter Santa Claus in a wintry sort of setting. So, okay, Carrie got it. She knew. Okie dokie. So, then after I light the candles, there are so many beautiful herbs here. There's incense here for me to burn while I'm doing it. And I'm going to use my little cauldron that I did not bring with me. I had it with me when we were talking about Samhain. I have a tiny, tiny little cauldron that my husband bought me. So I'm going to be burning the incense. I have charcoal discs to be used within the cauldron. You don't have to do these sorts of things, but you can just use the stuff that you have. I do not think that your spirituality should include your bank account. It doesn't have to. Absolutely does not have to. It's just when we get ourselves these things, we feel like we're on the right track. We kind of feel like, oh, okie dokie, because this lovely woman called the Culverstone Witch sent me these things. It helps me to understand that this is something that is sanctioned by something that's larger than myself. That this is traditions that have been brought down that I don't completely and absolutely understand. So thankfully, this woman has a greater understanding. I can follow with what she has given me. I hope that makes sense. Okie dokie. And I cannot say enough about the community, about using other folks within Etsy shops, within you give this and they give that. Okie dokie. Michelle says, my thoughts go out to my dad and hubby who have passed over when I meditate. I'm so glad you said that, Michelle, for a few reasons. One, because that's a very, very smart thing to do. Two, because what we're doing here actually includes the dead. Very, very, very much includes the dead. Your people on the other side. Okie dokie. Now I'm about to say something that I don't want to upset nobody, but how you feel about their passing and how you feel about the fact that they are on the other side actually colors their experience there. If you can find a place in your heart to come to terms with the fact that the person that you love has left their corporeal form and become full spirit and gone to the other side, if you can come to terms with that and actually be almost, I want to say almost happy for them, honestly, but my mouth wouldn't do it. If you can become almost at home with the idea that they are no longer in the physical form as you are, and then you pay homage to them as gone before you, you will actually better their experience on the other side. The more at home we are with the losses that we receive, the less those losses hurt us. Did not know I was going to say it like that, but I kind of get it a little bit. And Michelle says, yeah, I have. And okay, when she talks about meditating for them and communicating with them and commemorating them at the end of the year, and she can feel them with her always. I totally understand that, Michelle. And you're right. When you are actually at home with someone crossing over as well, when you can separate yourself from it and allow yourself to see that they had their experience, they did what they needed to do, and now you are still here completing your task and they've gone home. It's like you're at a party. You're still going to see them when you get home. They're just leaving the party earlier than you because you have more partying to do and they are all partied out. So that is death. And if at solstice time, you can bring yourself to the point where that is something you're comfortable with, where you can say, okie dokie, I don't have to be happy that you're on the other side, but since you're on the other side, I need to send you these thoughts of love. It's like when I read Indigenous clients, people on the other side are always saying, burn for me. And they want a meal burnt. They want clothing burnt. Sometimes other things as well. But those things are, when we burn the meal, that's food for you on the other side. When I burn the clothes, here are clothes for you to have on the other side. Because things don't have to exist here anymore for them to get to the people on the other side. Things don't have to exist here anymore for them to exist, is actually what I wanted to say, but that didn't make much sense, did it? Kind of sounded a little confusing. Okie dokie. Okie dokie. Missy considers people who have passed away to being welcome to home. And I agree, Missy. Well said. Yes, that is actually the way it is. They are going home. And yeah, you're still at the party. Okie dokie. Now, because we commemorate the dead so much during solstice, it is okie dokie. The voices in my head say it's nice to have pictures of them nearby. And that can be part of the commemoration, because I don't know about you, but I have met people who have lost people and they cannot look at their photos anymore because the visual reminder is just too much for their hearts to take. That's a little bit of not being able to come to terms with someone's passing, isn't it? And that actually, I don't know. I can empathize with the heartbreak that you might feel when you see that photo and you get reminded of the fact that they're no longer with you. But I think that they want you to put photos by where you do this so that you can know that they're actually with you. Actually, yeah. Because you have a visual and it really might help. And seeing their faces, just remember how much you love them and let that smile come to your face rather than the sadness of knowing that you don't have them anymore. And little voices inside my head say that's a selfish feeling. And I didn't want to say that because that sounds really jerky of me, but the voices in my head said that, so I had to say it. Okie dokie. Now, I'm going to build an altar. I actually already have an altar. I have a couple of altars. You don't need to call them altars. When you call it an altar, it really denotes a ritual faith sort of idea, which if that actually appeals to you, call it an altar. Make it an altar. Make it so that nobody else can put things on it. Make it somewhat sacred. If that makes you feel squeezy or squeegee inside, then call it whatever you want to call it. But know that it is an altar somewhat essentially. It is a space, a place, a surface where you are doing all of this for you. Okie dokie. Now, on here, this young lady has bells. I think that's an interesting idea because bells come up a lot in my readings with the dead. The bells in your head and things like that. Like they will actually go boom, boom in your head. Has anyone here received bells? You've probably all received the that happens in our heads at all. I actually always give that one to spirit guides. Okie dokie. So the next thing we're going to do after we burn the incense is we have these herbs here. This lovely woman added these herbs here so that I would have some. I have chamomile, I have rosemary, and I have peppermint. Those are great herbs. Michelle gets the ringing in her ears. I actually find when I get the ringing in my ears, I actually start to look around the room to see what the heck they might be saying to me or who's talking at this time. Okie dokie. Now, okie dokie. So I use the peppermint, I use the rosemary, and I use the chamomile. And I do believe it's the scents that we're getting from there, the herbs and the plants and the scents. I would say actually, if you wanted to do this in a different kind of way, in a way that makes sense to you, I actually think that you absolutely could. I think you could get a rosemary plant, and I think you could get a chamomile plant. Okie dokie. Now, Nikki has a long comment that I am going to read for 5 seconds. And okay, Nikki, I'm going to read it out. I work with home support and found my first person who had passed in her sleep. My team leads were making sure I was okay. When I was found her, she was peaceful in bed. I don't find it hard when seniors have passed because it was their time. And I think it was blessed to be yes, you were blessed to be the one who found her. Absolutely. Do you think she made it that way? Were you close to her? Do you think she wanted you to be the one to find her because you would be the one to say, oh, thank goodness? And I agree with you. It's funny actually how we have our tears with death. I would say with this woman that you're talking about, Nikki, I call those ones expected deaths. And an expected death is something, well, it's expected. When somebody gets over a certain age, we kind of expect them. Oh, okay, dokie. So it must just be you, Nikki. You didn't know her that well. You were the one who was supposed to find her because you were the one to have the best reaction. That's actually what I'm hearing in my head, reading you. Yeah, expected deaths, I think people don't really godsends. They're seen as godsends because people got enough time here. It's all about the time here, isn't it? Everyone's all concerned about how much time we had. Oh, they didn't have enough time. What if to see someone's soul leave their body when passed over is beautiful to see. This is what Michelle tells us. I have never seen someone pass over. I've seen animals passed over. I've had animals in my lap while they cross over. And I don't know that it's similar. I would really, okay. So those of you who have seen human beings pass over, have you seen animals pass over? And is it similar or is it different? Because when I have seen animals pass over, I actually see them going to sleep. And then I see the other animals come and get them. That's what I usually see, actually, in the two times that I've seen this. Okie dokie. Now, back to our solstice celebration. So what are you going to do? How would you like to celebrate it? You don't have to do it like solstice. You can just do it in, I'm getting rid of this and I'm going into this. Getting rid of the old, bringing in the new. What are you going to bring into you? Okie dokie. I'm seeing right now, and this is one of the things I'm going to do. I am going to write down lists of things that I would like to not have. I am going to write, and this was the one that's not with me, because there are things I do not pay attention to, and I do not pay attention to them on purpose. I don't pay attention to things I do not want to see more of. Or at least I try not to pay attention to things I do not want to see more of. So making this list, okay, making this list makes me wonder, do I want to bring those things to the forefront of my mind? Do I want to actually pull stuff from the back of my mind that I want to let go of and give it a ton of attention before I let it go? Okay, so as soon as I said that, the voices in my head said, well, of course you do. Because why would I let it go until I've examined it first? It's kind of like the lady with the feng shui. The one says, if I hold this, does it bring me joy? If not, then I put it away. So I guess when you want to let something go, you got to review it. You got to review what has happened and what you would like to not receive in the coming year. Okay, now Chris has answered our dead animals, dead people question. Okie dokie. Chris has been present for both humans and animals crossing over. It is similar, but slightly stronger for humans in her experience. Okie dokie. Yeah, and actually, that actually harkens back to the time I saw a horse crossover. I actually saw the horse fall down, and then I saw what looked like an apparition of a horse get up and run around. It was actually quite neat because this horse hadn't been running like that. Okie dokie. Okay, now Carrie is talking about the things we want to release. So I like to focus on the things I want more of. So making a list of not wants, I don't do. However, releasing them is vital. I agree, Carrie. It just seems like I'm inviting them into my psyche if I make a list of them. And that makes perfect sense to me, that be a not to do or a what not to do. Okie dokie. But there's got to be maybe actually if we make a list or a proclamation of the feelings behind the things that we do not want to be in our lives anymore, because it's not the things that we attracted, it's the feelings that we attracted. It's the thing that it's what the thing makes you feel inside you that you're actually attracting to you. Hope that makes sense. Okie dokie. time for the gathering of clans, is what Jerry calls this. We pool our food so everyone can make it through until spring when there is once again fresh food. Exactly. That's exactly what they used to do. And that gets me to the idea of the Yule log. Have you seen this? What the actual Yule log was all about? They used to get a fallen tree out of the forest, the biggest one they could find. They would put all of this greenery and alcohol and stuff all over it. Then they'd shove it into the fire. But the rest of the log would sit out in the rest of the hall, and they would, as it burns, just shove it further and further into the fire. Can you imagine how many people died or how many homes burnt down because of this massive tree that was on fire in the center of it? Anyway, I don't think people will do it that way now, but I certainly wouldn't. But the Yule log idea, I love that. And that goes with the getting rid of things, because I do believe if you do it properly, and yeah, air quoting that one, that the stuff that you put all over the Yule log can be the ashes of the Yule log the year before. And when you burn the effigy of the things you want to get rid of, you want to take those ashes out as well, because you don't want them sucking your fireplace or anything like that. Okie dokie. Now, okay. Jerry also adds, also those who came from afar hope to find a mate at this gathering. Yes, the mate thing is a very big thing. And I actually think that has to do with bringing in life in the spring. Also, a candle in the window for the departed spirits can find safe haven. It also calls into the family. Yes, I have heard that one before as well. The putting the candle in the window, I think, is that an Irish tradition? I'm kind of thinking it is, but I could be incorrect. Okie dokie. Now, Melina, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, is asking about her brother. And I think you might want to set a place for your brother at Christmas dinner. That is something that I did at Thanksgiving, and that I will do this Christmas dinner as well. Set a place for those who have gone before us, because it's not, because they still want to be a part of our celebrations and our festivities. And actually, during my readings, they show me that all of the time, actually. And I actually think, Melina, I apologize for mispronouncing your name if I have, and I do believe I did, that your brother is giving you a Christmas present of some sort. And it could be in the form, you might win something or something like that, or something might come to you. You might end up having to buy it yourself, but that's kind of a us detail. It might be something that you just absolutely have to have, that, whoa, it's right there. Or yeah, I hope you win. I hope you win something. That would be awesome if you could do that. That would be super awesome. I actually once won 2 Adirondack chairs on my 40th birthday, and I was pretty darn sure it was a birthday present from my father. That was my thinking at the time. Okie dokie. I hope that helped. The ashes, yes, I have heard that you put the ashes in the field for the crops from the spring, but isn't that from the Yule log from this year, not from the Yule log from last year? The Yule log from last year goes around this Yule log. Okie dokie. Okay. All right. Okay, good. I said it correctly. Okay. Thank you. I'm not going to say it wrong again, because I keep wanting to call you Melina. Why? Okay, I apologize. Okay, all of Chris's birth families on the other side. All of them. And actually, in my brain, they just said that I call that the immediate family. But I think you call them birth family for a certain reason, Chris. And okie dokie. And you know what? This is very interesting, actually. And I don't mind telling you. Okie dokie. Chris, actually, if you are looking for messages from your family, I don't think that you really actually need to go much farther than your Christmas tree, to be perfectly honest. And in this kind of way, and I don't mean that your tree is going to start talking or anything like that, or that you might. I'm actually seeing the bell ring thing, which from It's a Wonderful Life. That's pretty darn fanciful. I'm not saying it's improbable, but it's pretty darn fanciful. It's hard for the dead to do stuff like that. This is more, I am seeing that you might want to go, okay, I'm thinking about you, and then look at the tree, and then the thing that you can see, or thinking about okay, I miss you guys. And then I look at the tree, and then the ornament that I'm attaching my eyes to, then I actually, when I think about somebody, that's how they're talking to you, or that's how they are going to talk to you this Christmas. Yeah. And they like the set the place idea too, because there's many of them. I do one plate for all, because otherwise I'd have two tables, for goodness sakes. I'd have one empty table and one full table. And yeah, that's a lot. Who has room for this sort of thing? Okie dokie. I believe so too. Carrie says she finds solstice a magical time to manifest. I was thinking about that last night in the sauna. I was thinking about how there's something about this time of year that just makes me feel actually the words I get in my head are closer to God. And when I was a kid, that's exactly what it was. When I was a kid, I was very, very, very much Christmas to me meant the nativity. It meant the birth of Christ, and it meant to me, it meant hope. I saw the nativity as a commemoration of honestly God's love, and the fact that rebirth and the new is always coming. And that's what solstice is supposed to bring to us. So I honestly think that almost everything that we celebrate under different sects, and I don't know enough about Kwanzaa to speak to it at all. And I honestly do not know what people of Islam celebrate now. I know Hanukkah, and it's all about the light. And this entire season is about bringing in the light. It's about letting go of what was, and it's about bringing in the new. And that might actually be what you want to attach yourself to. That might actually be the little bit that you want to move into, because this is one of our most depressive times of year. And I honestly believe it's only depressive because of all the pressure we put on, because of the social stuff. Because actually, it used to be a time of year that Jerry's talking about, where the entire community would come together because they needed each other to stay alive. And all the hoarding of the food that they managed to do throughout the fall came to fruition at the Christmas feast, because they were celebrating the fact that they didn't have to starve anymore, that the sun was coming back, and we all have each other. That's what we're supposed to be doing. That's what this is all about. Instead, we actually very, very much into this idea of me, not you, competition, of blah, 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 blah. So much to do. So much to do. So many people have every weekend in December is completely and absolutely booked. And then there's so many people every weekend in December is free. And they compare themselves to the people whose weekends are completely booked, and then they're sad. And then the people who have the weekends completely booked are stressed and wish they had a weekend free. We do so much expectation and pull at ourselves in this time of year, when actually it's our hibernation time. When actually what we want to do is sit and sleep and spend a little bit of time with people we love, and come together and enjoy and let go of what was dark and look to what was light and make everything new. And that's what I'm going to do. I am going to use this time to actually spring clean, actually get rid of old stuff, actually start new. That leads me to you guys. What are you guys going to do? What are your traditions that you are going to start to follow and move into in this season, this holiday, Christmas, solstice season? Hope comes to mind. That's what Carrie says. Okie dokie. Now, Elizabeth has written us a long one. Can't sleep around this time of year. Really overwhelming to go to church, but follow my Catholic tradition still. Have to control emotions or cry through mass, sending out blessing and positive vibes. Wish I knew what they were trying to tell me. LOL, let me sleep. I know that one. You know why they wake you up when you're sleeping, Elizabeth? They wake you up when you're sleeping because it's the closest thing to the highest enlightenment of meditation you can be. When you're sleeping, Your spirit is actually in charge and your mind has gone to bed. And so they can talk to you. They wake me up a lot between 3 and 4. Anyone? Yeah, don't text me. I am up. You're right. But I actually tell you, if I went to Catholic Mass and I was raised by atheists, I would burst into tears as well. And I would actually burst into tears because when I walk into a church, I can feel the faith of others. I can feel the holiness of it. I can feel the energy of it. So when you're at Catholic Mass, wow, especially if you're having an enlightenment or you're spiritually awake, I can imagine that all that faith, all that beauty, all that love of God is actually right into you. It's Christmas time. It's a beautiful time. You might be feeling one thing, but everyone around you is feeling others. And I would actually go to Mass actually myself. But okie dokie. Yeah, I honestly, tears don't have to be bad. And to be moved to tears, actually what they're throwing at me is I've had people being moved to tears in yoga because they're moving energy throughout their body. And sometimes, I see, I get it now. I know why I saw the yoga. It could be, Elizabeth, that you are bursting into tears and you are waking up and things like that because they're trying to tell you there's something going on. There might be something going on inside of you that you actually might want to look at. This is actually maybe a call to you. And I actually believe that your faith can be involved. I think that you don't have to lose your faith to become more you or become more spiritual. I think that your faith can move within you. And I hope that makes sense to you. It just kind of blurred into my head. Okie dokie. Chris, yes, Missy cries in church too. I get it. And Missy gets it. Missy gets it too. Yeah, I've never been to a Mass. I have sat in churches for a wedding and a funeral. But other than that, I have, yeah. And one of the most beautiful ones, I was in St. Peter's Cathedral in London. Whoa. Holy cow. Thought my head was going to explode on that place. Holy cow. That was that church. Okie dokie. Chris. Chris loves the idea of cleaning, like when we open the doors at midnight or New Year's Eve. Out with the old and in with the new. Exactly. Out with the old, in with the new. And New Year's Eve actually falls in the middle of it. As far as I am concerned, we have the 21st all the way to the 6th. That's a really, really long time. I am not saying that you absolutely have to spring clean at that time because, yeah, shall I add a new thing on top of you? But if you're not doing all of that stuff, then do this stuff. Okie dokie. All right. Misty is writing, is there any way to figure out who is waking me up in the middle of the night and how can I help them? It's not necessarily always a positive feeling. Okie dokie. Now, yeah, I'm not sure where you live, Missy, but I think sometimes it's positive and sometimes it's negative. And actually, I got to tell you, I actually think an earthbound spirit might live with you. And I think when you feel it's positive, I think that you have a dead loved one, possibly your mother's mother, who protects you from this thing waking you up. But I think it wakes you. And you might get filled with anxiety after it wakes you, or your heart might pound or something. And I actually think that it is trying to get you to get upset in some sort of way. Because sometimes when we live with an earthbound, they can feed off of us a little bit. They will try to scare us so they can become more and more powerful with every scare. That feeling inside of your chest. So I actually think you might need to smudge your house. And, two things they want you to do. One, they want you to put a quartz crystal underneath your bed, and they want you to add, and I will say put it in a bowl, please. Put a bowl of salt underneath your bed. If that salt turns to water, then you are having activity while you sleep. And actually, they want you to meditate. So you might want to meditate so that during your waking hours, they can talk to you, because I think it's your spirit guides as well. And so does Lily. I don't know if you could hear her crying there. Okie dokie. Now, hello, Ruth. You were. Okie dokie. I've never been to church service either. Okie dokie. So Chris felt incredible emotions in the churches in Europe too, and hadn't been to a church service either. So it's not just me. They are charged. Okie dokie. Now, Ruth has a great comment. I was watching the camera today, the granddaughter sleeping, and see some white stuff moving around like a little white light. So I'm wondering whether who it is or a family member. Two things actually you might want to check, because it could be when it's dark that, like, they showed me the little blue light when you when you have your camera and you're taking a video or a picture. Sometimes there's a little blue light in the corner, and it's actually the phone. They're showing me that, so you might want to double check that first, because okay, when I say that, they say, but your eyes could be playing tricks on you. And I'm not sure if they're recorded. You might want somebody else to look at it as well, actually, because I don't think it's anything sinister. Honestly, I actually hear it's the child itself, which that's a little odd. And it could, I can't imagine you be able to see your granddaughter's subconscious above her while she's sleeping. No, that sounds crazy. Does that not sound crazy? They say check the facts, so double check it, please. Okie dokie. You're welcome, Missy. Absolutely. It shows on the baby monitor. Okie dokie. So Ruth is already, yeah. And actually, there might be somebody else in the house that you might want to have watch it as well, because for some reason, that's actually what I see. And that's what I hear. It's really, 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 really weird. But it might even be too that the person, because it looks like you ask a male, it might be the father of the child. It could be that they know who it is, and that's why we ask him to look. It could be that you were supposed to see it because you believe, and he was supposed to see it because he knew. That's actually what I hear. Okie dokie. Sorry, Elizabeth has a great comment, and I think it's wonderful. And I just love Protestants and Catholics. Wow. Okay, thank you. My hubby, jobless at near retirement. So yes, big changes and lots of stress, working our way through it. My mom and family, very Catholic. Protestant dad turned Catholic weeks before death to make sure he'd be with us. I love that. Oh my goodness. Okie dokie. And you know why I love that? I love that because your Protestant father thought that your Catholic mother might end up in a different town. And that just shows how we see such differences. And the reason I laugh at it a little bit too is because I watch a lot of history and look at a lot of history. And the Protestant Catholic thing, to me, as a agnostic, meaning that I believe very strongly in God, but I don't actually follow a particular religion. I follow a spirituality. I don't see the difference. One's pomp and circumstance, and one is that's the differences I see. But you're all praying the same Lord. I don't understand that at all. So why wouldn't you be in the same town? Honestly, Elizabeth, a voice inside my head yelled exactly when I said that, and I kind of wonder if that might have been your father saying exactly, like he can stand in Protestant town and throw rocks at his Catholic relatives. Okie dokie. Okay, now we're coming to an hour, and I'm not done. So what I'm actually also going to do, and what I don't know if I want to suggest you do it, or you might want to do as well, but I'm going to light those candles every day. And I'm not going to keep on making that same wish. I'm just going to, the voices in my head tell me the word blessings. So, oh, interesting. So, okay. I'd like to say that I planned this, but I did not. The voices in my head are telling me that what you might want to add is lighting that candle every day and blessing a different person. You could bless those who've gone before you, or you can bless people that you might be a little bit, or make a wish for them. Okie dokie. And Elizabeth, the little voices in my head are also telling me that they want you to look at these changes that are coming in your life as blessings rather than stresses, because they're only stresses if you continue to live your life the way you did before. They're blessings because they allow you to live your life in a different kind of way. It's like less money is a blessing. Okie dokie. Now, I'm just looking with this one. Okay, incense. Okay, now there's nothing different. Oh, snow goose. That's added. Don't eat a goose. Well, no, people eat goose. They used to always eat Christmas geese. But we in Canada here eat Christmas turkeys or hams. Are you a ham or are you a turkey family? Do you eat a goose? Have you ever eaten a goose? Are you a vegetarian? Have you had a tofurkey? Do you like tofurkey? I like tofurkey. There's actually a meatless Christmas meal that I'm going to buy from one of my favorite grocery stores that almost always has as many vegetarian options as I can actually want in on the island. They're on the mainland as well. They started on the island. They used to be a family-owned company. They aren't anymore. Things have changed. That's all I'm going to tell you because I'm not going to free advertise them. Hi, Connie. How are you? Okie dokie. Ruth, her mom was a Jehovah's Witness and her father was a Catholic. Wow. That is very different. Very different. Catholics celebrate everything and Jehovah's Witnesses celebrate nothing but Jehovah. So if you choose not to go either way on that one, I understand. I do have a lot of attraction to Catholicism though, but because I love pomp and circumstance, I love decoration, I love flash. And not to say that I think that Catholicism, but they have angels and demons in Catholicism. They have it just, I don't know. It speaks to me in that kind of way. Hello, Pat. Pat has no idea what's going on. We're talking about solstice today, Pat, and solstice celebrations and what you might want to do to celebrate your solstice. Do you celebrate solstice? And if you're new and you do celebrate solstice, please let me know how you celebrate solstice. And okie dokie. So, Christmas. This is all about solstice, but kind of putting it all together within the Christmas thing. Erin's going to be here on Christmas Day. That's her plan. She wants to come here and be here on Christmas Day for everyone who wants Erin to be here on Christmas Day. I'm going to try to as well. I cannot guarantee. I'm going to try to as well. I haven't asked the people in my life if that's all right with them yet. So that is why I say try to. Now, okie dokie. Do you celebrate Christmas a little bit differently? Could you begin with solstice and move yourself into Christmas and celebrate these all in the same sort of way? What do you do at Christmas? Do you have a tradition that you do? I actually have this thing that I've done since I was a little girl. Because I grew up with atheist parents, I would worry about them. And if you know me, you know that I used to actually sneak off to Bible study and I used to worship. And every Christmas, I would get up as close to midnight as I could because I had this thing about midnight. And I would sit at the base of our Christmas tree and I would say happy birthday to Jesus. And I would thank God for Jesus. And I would do this little ritual where it was just me and them. And it always just felt like something I should do. And when I would do it, there are certain people in my family who I would worry about because they didn't have Christmas trees and they didn't celebrate Christmas. And I would think when I was a little kid that they were pissing off God. I thought they were going to get in trouble and I didn't want them to get in trouble. So I would add them into this. So everybody has their little thing that they do that on Christmas time. Now, Pamela's asking me a question that is a different question, but it actually pertains to what we're talking about. Pamela's asking me, she's saying, Merry Christmas, Pamela. Is there a way we can amp up our manifesting? Absolutely. And especially this time of year. Am I right, Carrie? This is a great time of year for manifesting. So one of the ways you can do it is by celebrating Yule and doing these Yule type things and actually Pamela, the voices in my head are telling me that what you might want to do for manifesting is actually do a cleansing bath, like a salt bath before, cleanse your body. You might even actually want to scrape off that dead skin so you let go of what has happened. Because, and I think this is especially for you, particularly, Pamela, they want you to let go of what has happened so you can look towards what will happen and not actually fetter your manifestation with the realities of what has happened. Does that make sense a little bit? Sometimes when I'm told to tell people to manifest something, I'll say, well, they want you to do it like this for this. Okay, that's not a really great example. Okay, but it kind of is. And then people will give me all the logical earthly reasons why that's not going to work. And if you decide to let go of all those logical earthly reasons in your Yule celebration, your solstice celebration, or your Winterfest celebration, or whatever you heck want to call it, and then let all of those old things go, and I would burn them, and then ask for what you actually want to have happen. And act as though in your head you are that magical. And when you said, I don't think those things exist anymore, they actually cease to exist. And actually, they will cease to exist that way for you, because choosing to look at things in a different way will actually make things a different way. We are actually that powerful. What we expect to see, we tend to see. And when we don't, we actually think we're losing out on something. But what we expect to see, we tend to see because we manifest it. Okie dokie. All right, Ruth has something she's sharing with us. Well, when I was growing up, we didn't do our celebration of Christmas. Always the greatest of my father was an alcoholic. And he'd be on the bench for 2 weeks of drinking. And my mom tried the best to make it and work for us, because at the time she was not over with her Jehovah's Witness life. It was different back then than today. I celebrate Christmas. I enjoy the family. It is when my dad did stop drinking, and it was good. We enjoyed going to ski doing on Christmas Day. We had turkey, ham, all the good stuff for food, and we enjoyed, I'm going to assume you said each other because it stopped off, but that's a beautiful example, Ruth, and thank you so much for sharing it, because I know people who don't like to celebrate Christmas as adults because Christmas as children was disheartening and could be actually marked as one of the worst times in the household because there's so much celebration and frivolity, and not everyone does well with that. Some people over imbibe or become complete jerks when there's a lot of energy, and that jerkiness does tend to become contagious. So the fact that you actually let go of the negative parts and focus on the positive parts, I believe brings more positivity in your Christmas today. And what a healthy, beautiful way of showing it. And thank you so very much for sharing that with us. Pat has added something as well. We always celebrated Christmas. Mom was Catholic and strong believer, but the outdoors was her church. Excellent. Not doing the weekly social circle of church. Dad, an atheist. We were raised united. Interesting. That's funny, actually. United. Get it? United. I just thought that was funny. I always went to church. Now, sorry, I don't need a church telling me what makes me happy. I agree. And I do believe that is God's church. I am pointing to the forest. There's a forest to my left. You don't know that. I believe that. I actually call the forest God's church all the time. I totally agree with you, Pat. And yes, doing what makes you happy. I'm sorry, Pat. I have to say it, though. It's what Warren would want you to do, because that's what I actually heard. And you know that, too. Do you put up his stocking? I put up my dad's stocking every year. And yeah, I put up my dad's stocking every year. Okie dokie. Thank you. Lori Ann says, sounds like what I need to do. Grateful. I am listening today. I am so glad, Lori Ann. Yes. Grateful, grateful, grateful. We are actually really blessed, folks. Okie dokie. Carrie has added in something. Also, remember, while manifesting, there is a buffer period where you can shift your thoughts and change them along the way. Excellent. Thank you very much, Carrie. You're right. But sometimes manifesting is instant if you have unwavering belief of it to be true. I also think, too, sometimes the thing that you're manifesting, you don't even realize you're manifesting it. And then your brain catches up with your energy and kaboom, you ask for it because you can actually almost see it. It actually comes into the back of your head. So I agree with you completely there. Yes, Lori Ann says, I have learned to be with people who bring peace and calm at Christmas. Absolutely. Christmas absolutely does not need to be for family. When I was a single person at Christmas time, I would actually invite other single people to Christmas dinner. Call it strays. We were all strays for dinner. But because it doesn't have to be about family. It's about community. Completely about community. That gets me to an idea. We really need a community Christmas dinner. Okie dokie. Thank you, Ruth. Thank you so very much. And thank you, Carrie. Okie dokie. Thank you, everyone. I think I actually am going to sign off there. I am so grateful for everyone who's come in. If actually, before I sign off, if anyone has a question, I am more than happy to answer every question. I never leave a reading without actually saying, does anyone have any questions? Oh, good Lord. We're going to get rid of that person. Oh, gosh, they just came like, block that user. Okie dokie. Oh, right. So 6069 fun has been blocked. Good golly, Miss Molly. Anyway, okie dokie. So I'm just waiting. No. Oh, is my dad going to be around at Christmas? I'm honestly, Lori Ann, the voices in my head actually say, do you really need to ask that of me? You know he is. And actually, I think he wants to set a place. I think he wants, okay. He needs you to know he can be everywhere all at once because people are in separate places. And I think there might be a lot of separation going on. And I know that your mother is in a separate inhabitant than you are. So he can be there and he can be with you and he can be here and he can be there. He can even travel. He can be with her and travel with you to her. He can be everywhere all the time. He actually just likened himself to a Thanksgiving balloon. You know, the parade, the wall all over. That's actually what I think that's groovy. It's Snoopy. So, okie dokie. Is your husband going to find work, Elizabeth? Actually, they show him searching. And they tell me looking for love in all the wrong places. This actually might be an idea for him to do something a little bit new. And they tell me to tell you to tell him to remember his worth, that he's here and he knows he's here. And that is actually where he needs to be. But it might even be that he does something a little bit different than he used to. And this is a weird thing, too. I often kind of joke about in my retirement, I'll go work a job. Like I'll go and do something I've never done before. And honestly, I've never worked in a grocery store. That one actually comes to mind. And it's not because experience is experience. And different people are different people and different things. That's what they're showing with him. They want him to keep his eyes open, keep his mind open. And I actually think something actually falls at his feet because they show something falling at his feet, which would be smashing, wouldn't it? You might want to manifest it. And it's funny that I picked out the red one because the red one is grounding. To be perfectly honest as well, Elizabeth, when I read the thing that you wrote about the changes and things in your life, you might be at a youthful age where you feel you have far too much time left on the planet to stop actually pulling money in. But they actually tell me that what is going on is an opportunity for you guys to change a lot of stuff and to make changes you wanted to. And it actually might be a simplification of your life. And sometimes that doesn't seem like a good thing, but my God, I simplified my life about 6 months ago. Wow, I feel so much better. So much. But actually, yeah, I stopped buying new things. That was part of the simplification. Obviously, I'm buying new things during Christmas because, people want new stuff. But mostly especially when I buy things for myself, I try to buy only used things. Yeah. Pre-loved. Yeah. Okie dokie. Okie dokie. Chris would like to know if there are any tips to help the boys in her family feel peace with each other. I love that. And I love that you've singled them out as the boys because the male side of our gender have a tendency to not. Okie dokie. Honestly, Chris, I'm not sure that you need to. The way that they show it is something actually I've always envied about men, about how men can have a problem with each other and actually punch each other in the face and then be friends. I can't imagine punching another woman in the face and her ever doing anything but cursing me for the rest of my days. So that you might actually need to do that and let them work it out. But I would add it into your wishes. Happy birthday, Heather. Go get yourself a present. And I don't know why, but they show you standing on a scale. I don't know why. It may or may not actually have something to do with the heaviness of you. And I don't think it has anything to do with your weight. I don't own a scale because I actually think that they give people a false idea of their body, because I'm an incredibly heavy person, but I still wear a size 4 or 6. But if you looked at my number, you'd think, oh, she is pretty overweight, but I'm not. Anyway, so it doesn't mean anything. I'm sorry. Okie dokie. There's something about the measure of you. There's something about you taking stock. I actually, since this is your birthday, I would actually treat this as your own little personal solstice, and do the things you want to do. And I actually think somebody who's on the other side has left you a birthday present, and it might be outside your window, which it could just be outside. So you might want to look out. Oh, the big 40. Oh, you lost 170 pounds. That's why the scale. Okie dokie. Okay, that makes sense. That's the thing when I'm doing when I'm reading people and I can't see them and they can't talk back to me or anything like that. I don't know why I'm saying this. Okie dokie. Happy birthday, Heather. Congratulations. Wow. No wonder. Buy yourself a present. Good for you. Oh, was it 444? Thank you, Carrie. And actually, when I looked, it was 117.11, which means a ton to me. Actually, 17 especially means a lot to me. Good for you. And did you do a lifestyle change, Heather? Because that's what they're telling me. It's either that or this moves into that lifestyle change. And do you bowl? I don't know why, but they're showing bowling. You might want to bowl for exercise. I don't know. Maybe you'll meet Fred Flintstone. Good Lord. I've been on here too long. My brain's melting. Okie dokie. Now, Pamela would like to know if her granddaughter and her dad will ever fit. Well, that's up to them, actually. And because the way that they show it is, and I kind of think it's especially with your granddaughter, they show them standing with each other and they show her keep on bringing new things out that she has to deal with her dad. She has more complaints than he does, which makes sense because possibly he has a lot to make up for her. They show him taking every complaint from her, reading it carefully, and then actually they show him eating it. So that might be what he has to do. He might have to have that humble pie we talked about. He is willing to do anything and she won't talk. Oh, well, that's actually, yeah, he's just going to have to eat it for a little while. She's working her stuff out with him. And he can ask her to write a letter to him because she can say it all in a letter. But I think that'll be really painful. And he can't keep it. He has to burn it, or she burns it, or they burn it. It has to burn. And get it out. And yeah, because this toxicity is actually hurting her and she's much more like him than she knows. Okie dokie. Yeah, Heather sucks at bowling. Well, all the more reason to try harder. I just saw this. So I don't know what that means. And that's I can't do the full bowling or I'll smack my hand on what I'm sitting on. So I saw that motion that reminded me of bowling. It might actually mean something else. Hello, Chantel. Ah, from Bear. He's still not home. Soon. Soon. That's actually what I hear. Finding his way. You actually might want to do what Jerry was talking about with the light in the window. Just because, even if you don't think you can actually see, put the light in the window, please, because that commemorates that you. And they're actually even showing, do I have one close by? I do not. They're showing me those electric little tea light candles that you can get at the dollar store, so that it looks like a candle, feels like a candle, but it doesn't bring your house down, things like that. So yeah, that's you're welcome, Heather. Absolutely, you're welcome. Okie dokie. All right, now, if that is all the questions, Merry Christmas to you all. Happy solstice to you all. I will make a solstice video and try to organize what I do and show it to you guys. You are absolutely welcome, Chantel. Absolutely. And so that for helpfulness. So that when you guys do your own, you can go, okay, blah, 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 blah. And please don't get attached to the dates. Don't get attached to the dates, because we're going by the earth. The 21st falls on the day it falls on. I don't think that it has to fall on the longest day of the year. Tonight actually might be the longest day of the year. Kind of feels like it. I actually felt like I should be doing this on Monday, and I still might do a little bit because the calendar is a calendar. It's a human made thing, for goodness sakes. It's kind of like when people are freaking out about the Mayan calendar. I kept saying, what? Saying 2000, what? Okie dokie. Gonna do the solstice video. Thank you, Chantel. All right. Thank you, everyone, so very much. On behalf of Erin and on behalf of myself, we appreciate you, Orachellians, like nobody's business. And we love doing this for you, which is why Erin just couldn't do it today, because when we do this for you, we like to give you all of us, and it actually does take a lot of us. Hi, Sue. Thank you, Connie. Happy solstice and Christmas to you too, and Happy New Year. Because you mean so much to us, and community is everything, which Erin will be here Christmas Day. I am going to try to pop in as well, because like I said, the way we used to celebrate Christmas was by honoring the community, coming together and bringing in the idea that we're all going to stick together and we're going to make it another year. We're going to bring back the light together. So I believe that's what we're doing here. We just can't all see each other. One of these days, we got to make it so everyone can see each other. I don't know how the heck we're going to do that, but we're going to do it one day. Thank you very much, Jerry. Thank you, Chantel. Thank you, Ruth. Thank you, everyone who joined us for the video, joined us. Yeah, I think I'm a plural. I really do. Namaste. Thank you. Merry Christmas. Happy solstice. Blessed Yule.